Mabry and Madge Miller are really the definition of York College. I spend a good deal of my time in the city of York, among the citizens of York. Always, when Mabry and Madge are spoken of, they're spoken of almost in reverent terms, because they've been here longer than almost anybody, even in the city.
I had had a dream about starting a Christian college in the North because President's wife's brother, Don Hockaday, spoke in chapel. He told us how great a mission field it is in the north central states, and we need people up there to teach and to seek the lost and to convert the people in that area. So when I heard about a Christian college up here, I thought, wow, this is my chance, what I've been dreaming about.
When I first heard stories about Mother and Dad coming to York College and how they made that decision, they told us about the opportunity that they had to go to Japan and be missionaries with Collis Campbell and Dolores Campbell. And they were trying to decide which would be God's will for them, whether to go to Japan and be missionaries or to come to this strange place they'd never heard of in Nebraska.
So I applied for the job as a registrar. I got a call from Mr. Childress, would you like to come and be the registrar? So I said, yes. After I talked to my wife, I'll talk to her and then I'll call you back. So we said yes. I was the registrar for 2 years. During that 2 years, I started working on my doctorate at the university and finished that in August of '59.
We call him Doc. Doc because he was the first teaching PhD on this campus 1,000 years ago, or 45 or 46 years ago.
He was lovingly called Doc Miller, and even though Ray Miller was also Doc Miller, everyone knew what you're talking about if you said Doc Miller. It was always Mabry, and he's just been a fixture at the college all of these years, and someone that a lot of the students want to make sure they take Doc Miller for a class because he's a legend at York College.
I was a registrar for 2 years. By that time, I had finished my doctor's degree, and the dean left, and so they asked me to be acting dean the first year, and they decided after that to make me a regular dean. And so I did the dean's office for 28 years, plus a 2 in registrar, so I was in administration at the college for 30 years. And at that time they decided that when you get to 65, you probably ought not to be an administrator anymore. So I just went back to the classroom and taught full-time for several years.
Mabry Miller served in the capacity of Dean of Academic Affairs for York College, a position I now hold. And many of the structures of our academic organization he is directly responsible for. And he is one of the shoulders upon which I stand.
But recently I've been teaching part-time and still love to teach, love to be with the students, love to see them learn, and so that's been a fun thing.
I've appreciated the way that Mabry's been a part of our department for the 17 years that I've been here. Mabry has always been eager to teach whatever I've asked him to teach. Sometimes even offering to do more, and I appreciate that very much. He's been easy to work with. Sometimes he prefers to have a meeting of his own over at Henderson on the municipal golf course rather than meet with us. And he asked me one time, or he's asked me several times through the years, if our department meetings would be directed towards something he needed to be involved in because he had another appointment. And with that little grin, I knew where he was headed, and that was fine. Actually, I'm kind of jealous.
Over those years, I've been in and out of York College. I even wrote up a thing about my years in and out of York College because I worked at different things, just part-time some of the time, and then I managed the college bookstore for 5 years, between 73 and 78, I believe was years. And then I was out of that for a while and did odds and ends of jobs. And then in 1983, I believe it was, they got some money to start a program for careers research. And I was hired for that and did that for 13 years.
I know Madge has been in a number of offices, as well as Mabry, and all the different aspects of their service to York College. And that speaks highly of their abilities and their willingness to serve in whatever the need is.
So she took every freshman through a computer program to search for career ideas.
Match up their abilities with areas and their interest with areas, and then to research areas and figure out what education they needed to prepare for that particular field.
Madge Miller is from my hometown, and she is a person of such incredible energy, and she gave me hope immediately that a Southerner could survive a Nebraska winter.
One of the things that I did as academic dean was to work toward getting a college in the North Central Association so we'd have national accreditation. And we worked at that for several years, but in 1970 we were successful, and we've been national accredited ever since 1970. But one of the problems with my dream was that we were a two-year college, and the students would graduate from here and then go to the South to school, and then they wouldn't come back to Nebraska. So I wasn't getting my dream fulfilled of building up the church with graduates. But a few years ago, that all changed. We became a four-year college. We still have national accreditation. Now the students are graduating, stopping off in New York or somewhere in Nebraska or living somewhere in the north central states. And I think my dream is being fulfilled now of seeing graduates from York College become leaders in churches in our north central states. And
When I got a chance to work at York College a few years ago in the business office, then I really believe that in the back of my mind I thought this would give me a chance to be part of this great work that Dad and Mother started with other people 50 years ago.
I hope to see a Bible Belt in this part of the country, because I know that Lipscomb and Abilene and Harding did that for the southern states. And I'm hoping to see that in the north central states. And I think it's beginning to work now that we're in a four-year college. And when we came here, I'd promised the Lord in my own private devotionals that if he would help us build a Christian college here, I'd make that my life's work. And that's the reason I have been here 50 years. I wanted to see a good, strong Christian college built here. I want to see the progress in the church that our graduates would create, and I think I'm seeing that now. But to see our students succeed, see them come back, and they'd come back and said, well, I haven't been here for 20 years, but you two haven't changed a bit. And I always thought, did I look this old 20 years ago?